These 6 white-tailed eagle, Haliaetus albicilla, chicks represent one of conservation's most remarkable comeback stories, the return of Britain's largest bird of prey to English skies after a 240-year absence caused by systematic human persecution. In 1780, the last breeding pair of white-tailed eagles in southern England nested on Culver Cliff on the Isle of Wight. By 1918, hunters had shot dead the final native white-tailed eagle in all of Britain, in Shetland, marking the complete extinction of a species that had soared over these islands for millennia. What happened next shows how human determination can right historical wrongs and restore the natural world. The white-tailed eagle is an absolutely magnificent creature, with a wingspan reaching 8 feet, earning it the nickname Flying Barn Door. These massive raptors are unmistakable in flight. As sister species to the American bald eagle, white-tailed eagles share similar imposing characteristics. Their brown bodies contrast sharply with pale, almost white heads and necks in older birds, while their distinctive white tail feathers flash like beacons against the sky. Unlike their golden eagle cousins, white-tailed eagles are fish specialists, plunging their talons into water to snatch salmon and other fish, though they'll happily take rabbits, birds, and carrion when the opportunity arises. Before persecution began in earnest during the Middle Ages, these eagles were incredibly abundant. Conservative estimates suggest around 500 CE. There were between 800 and 1,400 breeding pairs across Britain, with some experts believing the Dark Ages may have supported as many as 1,000 pairs. They ranged across the entire south coast of England from Cornwall to Kent, nested throughout Wales, and dominated Scotland's highlands and islands. But medieval attitudes toward large predators were unforgiving. Farmers viewed them as threats to livestock, gamekeepers saw them as competition for valuable game birds, and the general public considered them dangerous vermin to be eliminated. The decline was relentless and systematic, accelerated in the mid-20th century by DDT and organochlorine pesticide poisoning. By 1800, only about 150 pairs survived nationwide. Wales lost its last nest by 1860. The Isle of Man held out until 1850. Scotland's final breeding pair was recorded on Skye in 1916. When that last bird fell to a hunter's gun in 1918, an entire species vanished from British skies. For nearly 60 years, white-tailed eagles existed only in memory and old photographs. Then, in 1975, something extraordinary began. On the remote Scottish island of Rum, conservationists launched an ambitious reintroduction program. Over 10 years, they carefully transported 82 young eagles from thriving Norwegian populations, giving them a second chance at life in their ancestral homeland. The man behind this vision was Roy Dennis, a field ornithologist who had fallen in love with these magnificent birds as a young birdwatcher in the 1950s. Born in the New Forest and intimately familiar with the Isle of Wight, Dennis had actually visited Culver Cliff as a teenager, seeing firsthand where England's last eagles once nested. That connection would prove prophetic decades later. The Scottish reintroduction faced enormous challenges. Early attempts in 1959 and 1968 had failed completely, but the 1975 program, with its careful monitoring and round-the-clock nest protection, gradually gained momentum. In 1985, after 10 patient years, the Isle of Mull welcomed the first wild eagle chick born on British soil in nearly a century. It was a moment that made international headlines, a species literally returning from the dead. The success continued. A third phase between 2007 and 2012 brought 85 more Norwegian nestlings to Scotland's east coast. Today, approximately 180 breeding pairs soar over Scottish landscapes, from the Hebrides to the mainland highlands. The species is now listed as least concern on the IUCN Red List globally, though remains protected under CITES Appendix 1. The economic impact has been staggering. White-tailed eagles now generate between 4.9 and 8 million pounds annually for the Isle of Mull alone through wildlife tourism, supporting up to 160 full-time jobs and attracting ecotourism enthusiasts from around the world. But Roy Dennis never forgot his teenage visit to Culver Cliff. In August 2019, working with Forestry England and his own Roy Dennis Wildlife Foundation, he finally brought white-tailed eagles home to England. 6 young birds were released on the Isle of Wight, returning to the exact region where their ancestors had last bred 240 years earlier. The English project is led by Tim Mackerel, who oversees the detailed monitoring of each bird. The English reintroduction faced different challenges than Scotland's earlier efforts. Farmer opposition was intense, with sheep farmers and shooting estates expressing concerns about livestock predation. These fears weren't entirely unfounded. Scottish data confirmed that white-tailed eagles do occasionally take healthy lambs, particularly in areas with limited natural prey. One monitor farm on Mull reported 181 missing lambs over 6 years, though whether all were taken by eagles remained disputed. More troubling was direct persecution. In 2022, 2 of the reintroduced eagles were found dead on shooting estates in suspicious circumstances. Laboratory analysis revealed one had been poisoned with bendiocarb, a banned pesticide, while another contained 7 times the lethal dose of the rodenticide brodifacoum. Police investigations were launched, though one was controversially closed with inconclusive results despite clear evidence of poisoning. Despite these setbacks, the English population began to establish itself. By 2020, several pairs had formed territories along the south coast. Then came the breakthrough everyone had been waiting for. In 2023, female G405 and male G471, both translocated from Scottish populations and only 3 years old, successfully bred in Sussex. Their single chick became the first white-tailed eagle born wild in England since 1780. What makes this even more remarkable is that white-tailed eagles typically don't breed until they're 5 years old. These young parents were precocious pioneers, proving the species was truly adapting to its restored English habitat. The same pair bred again in 2024, producing 2 more chicks, bringing the total wild-born population to 3. Then came 2025's record-breaking breeding season. Not only did the Sussex pair produce 2 more chicks, both females tagged as G841 and G842, but a second pair in Dorset also bred successfully. This Dorset pair, G463 and G466, made their achievement even more extraordinary because the male has only 1 leg, having lost the other 4 years earlier. Their single male chick, G834, became the first wild-born eagle in Dorset for over 240 years. The project's success metrics are impressive. Of the 45 young eagles released to date, survival rates exceed expectations. 50% for the 2019 cohort and 57% for 2020, compared to the expected 35% based on Scottish data. Interestingly, female survival significantly outpaces males, 60% versus 36%, suggesting different adaptation challenges between the sexes. Public support has grown stronger over time. A 2025 survey showed 93% approval for the reintroduction, up from 86% in 2019. The sight of these enormous eagles soaring over southern England has captured imaginations and inspired hope for broader ecological restoration. The tagged eagles have provided fascinating insights into their behavior through GPS satellite telemetry. Several birds have made extended journeys to northern Scotland, while one ambitious individual crossed the English Channel, spending 2 successive summers exploring the Wadden Sea. Coasts of the Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark. Their exceptional vision, capable of spotting features over 3 miles away and seeing ultraviolet light invisible to humans, helps them navigate these vast territories. Looking forward, the project aims to establish 6 to 8 breeding pairs within 60 kilometers of the Isle of Wight, with populations spreading east and west along the south coast. This would create crucial genetic links between Scottish and Irish populations, and those recovering in the Netherlands and France. Plans are underway for reintroductions in Wales and potentially Exmoor, suggesting the white-tailed eagle's restoration is far from complete. The 6 wild-born chicks of 2025 represent more than just numbers in a conservation success story. They embody redemption, proof that humans can undo historical mistakes and restore the natural world. When that last eagle fell in 1918, few could have imagined their descendants would one day soar again over English countryside. Yet here they are, these magnificent, flying barn doors, reclaiming their ancestral skies and reminding us that with patience, dedication, and respect for the natural world, Even the most devastating losses can sometimes be reversed. The white-tailed eagle's return is still fragile, still vulnerable to persecution and habitat loss. But those 6 chicks represent hope made manifest, living proof that extinction need not always be forever. See you next time, and thanks for watching.